Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
And topping our news this noon, a tax cut plan now all but a done deal. The plan passed by the state Senate increases some tax credits and starts to phase out the state's retirement tax, but it does not include everything the governor was proposing.
The Lowering My Costs plan is headed to the governor's desk. A key component of the bill increases the working family's tax credit from 6% to 30%. Democrats say 700,000 Michiganders will see an average of $3,150 back in their pockets. Retirement income taxes are also changing, giving all retirees the maximum deduction, and public employee pensions would not be taxed at all. But one key element Democrats wanted, those $180 checks, are not coming. The original plan was if you file a tax return in Michigan, you'd get one, but it would have killed the opportunity to roll back Michigan's income tax rate from 4.25 to 4.05%. Senate Democrats were unable to get enough votes to push that through on time. Senate Majority Leader Winnie Brinks saying, quote, "It's unfortunate those won't be going out. We were hoping we would be able to get Republican support on that, but unfortunately they were unwilling to do so." Last night, GOP Minority Leader Eric Nesbitt telling the Detroit News, quote, "Senate Republicans protected the automatic income tax rollback that is due to millions of Michigan residents who need permanently lowered taxes, not a one-time gimmick that disappears in one trip to the grocery store."
We do have a crew headed to Lansing today to get reaction. The governor, by the way, did celebrate the bill in a press release today, but did not say when she plans to sign that bill into law. The other big story coming out of Lansing this afternoon, the State House and Senate are expected to start holding hearings on gun violence prevention bills. They were all introduced days after the shooting at Michigan State University. The bills would require universal background checks, create secure storage laws to help keep legal guns out of the hands of kids and teens, and establish red flag laws. That allows the courts to temporarily remove guns from anyone who poses a threat to themselves or to others. A short time ago, we heard from the president of the MSU chapter of Students Demand Action.
I refuse to let future generations of students grow up like we have, living in constant worry that any day could be their last. Right now, we have a real opportunity to make meaningful change. Thanks to the tireless work of advocates and voters, the political landscape in Michigan has changed.
Republican lawmakers we've spoken with recently say they want to see these bills with a little more detail to them and look forward to conversations that also surround mental health. Former Congressman Fred Upton, a Republican, says he's a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, but is in favor of these bills. We're staying on top of the efforts to restore power to people across Metro Detroit as thousands are now going into a full week in the dark. DTE says more than 16,000 customers are still without power. After the ice storm 1 week ago, 630,000 were without power. DTE has 4,200 crews out in the field today working to get those lights back on. Important news for people who rely on insulin. A major drug maker is capping the out-of-pocket costs. Eli Lilly limiting prices of insulin to $35 per month. The average list price for one vial in the U.S. is nearly $99. The move puts the company in line with a provision in a federal bill that imposed a $35 monthly cap on insulin for seniors that are enrolled in Medicare. The change takes effect immediately, and experts say it could prompt other insulin makers to follow suit. We now wait for the Supreme Court to make a decision on President Biden's plan to erase student loan debt for millions of Americans. Two challenges went before the high court, and as Bree Jackson reports from Washington, some justices appeared skeptical of the president's plan.
After hearing several hours of oral arguments, some Supreme Court justices question whether President Biden's plan to forgive student loan debt is legal. Other Supreme Court justices question whether the challengers in this case even have a right to sue. Student debt has got to go! Hey, hey! A showdown at the Supreme Court. The financial future of millions with student loan debt on the line.
It definitely weighs on my mind.
I made the financial decision for myself
to go to the university where I would have the least amount of debt.
The High Court heard arguments Tuesday over President Biden's student debt forgiveness plan. It would erase up to $10,000 for people earning less than $125,000 per year and up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients. Conservative justices, they're skeptical.
Along comes the government and tells that person, you don't have to pay your loan.
Liberal justices question whether the challengers, 6 Republican-led states and 2 people with student loan debt, even have the legal standing to sue, and expressed sympathy for debt holders.
They don't have friends or families or others who can help them make these payments. The evidence is clear that many of them will have to default.
Part of the argument, the president overstepped his authority by taking action without congressional approval. Lawmakers are divided.
The president's student loan giveaway will do nothing to address the root of the problem, and that is soaring college costs. In fact, it's likely to make things worse.
90% of the relief going to out-of-school borrowers will go to those earning less than $75,000 a year. This is not some giveaway to the rich. That's utter bull.
The High Court is expected to rule on the matter by the end of June. The Congressional Budget Office estimates President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan would cost more than $400 billion. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
All right, Bree. Michigan is famous for putting the world on wheels. Well, now wants to put people to work with wheels. The Michiganders EV Scholars Program will have up to 10,000 scholarships for those looking to stay in the state after graduating. The goal of this program to keep the talent we have in the state while growing the electric vehicle industry here at home.
I know some have compared this transition that we are facing from horse and buggy days to the gas automobile, but this is really a profound moment for Michigan to continue to learn not only innovating, but manufacturing the best and brightest talent as well as products across the globe.
Currently, Michigan has more than 3,000 job openings in the EV and mobility sector. Well, how do temperatures in the 50s in March grab you? Well, that could happen over the next few hours. We're just not going to talk about the next few days. I'll leave that to meteorologist Ashley Barresi, who's tracking all of it for us this afternoon. Hey, Ash.
Hey, well, I'm going to start with some good news. Today is March 1st, which is the beginning of meteorological spring. March 1st through May 31st, for those of us meteorologists, call this spring because it's based on annual temperature cycle and how we keep our weather records. But if you're keeping track on your calendar, well, the spring equinox 19 days away. And boy, is it feeling like spring out there on this first day of March. But we won't officially be in spring according to the calendar or astronomical spring until March 20th. And if you're also keeping track of springing forward, well, let's talk about daylight saving time. We will be forwarding those clocks come Sunday, March 2nd, where the new sunrise will be just before 8, sun setting right around 7:30. So right now it does feel like March. You can see I'm kind of stalling talking about the later part of the week. 45 in Detroit, same in Howell, 41 in Pontiac, 44 in Adrian, and those temperatures across the metro area are expected to climb right around 50 today. Not the case up in the Thumb, which we'll talk more about those details in your full forecast. But you can see we're steering clear of any more precipitation for today as the snow is up to our north in the upper peninsula. So as we map out the rest of your Wednesday, 51 the afternoon high here with a few breaks in the clouds. But we'll talk about the cooler conditions to our north today, plus the winter storm on the horizon coming up in your full forecast. And with that on the horizon, make sure you have that Forewarned Weather app with you. Download it in your app store if you haven't done so already.